The effect's activation and effect cannot be negated. Wait, cannot be negated? The first wave of Gold Pride cards made a few splashes in Photon Hypernova. This second wave of Gold Pride cards is about to completely blow the top right off the deck. The race of Gold Pride continues in Cyberstorm Access. Hello duelists, it's the great Tom Box, and I have the pleasure to reveal to you the new lineup and rarity of the Gold Pride cards. So, what did we unlock? Well, let's take a look. We have one new rider, two new extra deck rider modes, we have three new insane spell cards, and one new trap card for Captain Carry to set up. In addition to that, I want to share my thoughts and insights about the new cards and how they share a lot of similar qualities that make decks extremely competitive. Alright, so let's buckle up, hit the like button, hit subscribe, ding the bell, and let's go. First up, let's go with the secret rare, our newest rider in the race. We have Gold Pride Rollerballer. You might be wondering, why is this card a secret rare? You know, the monster itself doesn't look like it's going to amount to much. It's a quick, easy level 5 special summon. Maybe you can pair it with some punk cards, give more options for Leon. But the real effect is the quick fusion effect. It has a quick effect during the main phase where you can fusion summon into a Gold Pride fusion monster. And that is all it needs. I mean, literally all it needs to break any board on your own turn or inflict massive mayhem to your opponent during their turn. So what is this fusion monster that this card can go into? It's time to transform and meet Gold Pride Pinballer. To fuse into this monster, you're going to need Rollerballer as the base material, but then you can add as many Gold Pride monsters you need as additional material. If this card is fusion summoned, you get to equip face-up monster your opponent controls up to the number of fusion materials used. So at the very base, you're going to have at least 2 monsters that you can convert into equip. But let me break down the entire effect here. It is a non-targeting, non-destructive, non-graveyard, non-banish base removal. Oh, and I guess the part I left out is it can't really be negated. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, which is very, very common, especially in a Gold Pride Punk deck, the activation and its effect cannot be negated. Which means if this monster comes out, your board is about to get completely rolled up. And that makes Rollerballer a very dangerous monster to leave on the field. You're at the potential of losing 2 or more monsters every single time it activates and turns into Pinballer and just starts rolling over your monsters and turning them into equipped. It's dangerous because it's just non-targeting removal, non-destructive removal, and it's just there. And the worst part is it's kind of on repeat because like most of the Gold Pride monsters from the extra deck, during the end phase, if you did activate the effect this turn, then return this card to the extra deck and summon out its counterpart, which would be Rollerballer. So Pinballer turns into Rollerballer, Rollerballer turns back into Pinballer, and you kind of see the main phase being very, very disrupted if they get the ball rolling. No pun intended, but it is what it is. You can see why a simple fusion effect can be so dangerous. Next, we have Gold Pride Captain Carry's extra deck mode. She becomes Gold Pride Chariot Carry. Chariot Carry is a generic rank 3 monster. In other words, the recipe does not actually require a Captain Carry. It can use any 2 level 3 monster and you can XC summon this monster from the extra deck. The effect is quite simple. You get to detach a material to add a Gold Pride spell from your deck to your hand, and if your life points are lower, you can also send a Gold Pride monster into the graveyard, setting up your Leon. Chariot Carry being able to search for Gold Pride spell cards become more of a toolbox for the deck. Especially in Cyberstorm Access, we gain an additional 3 spell cards for Gold Pride. But before we get into those spell cards, I want to talk about the generic material and what that really implies. You can use monsters like Tour Guide from the Underworld, Speed, or Terror Top to gain access into Chariot Carry, but my personal favorite option would be to use Emergency Teleport, summoning a punk monster like Xiamen, reducing my own life points. And if I can pair it with, say, a monster like, Water Enchantress from the Temple and gain access to that particular line of adventure token stuff, even better. I feel like there's just a lot of potential, especially when this deck doesn't exactly have a lot of restriction, aside from coming from, using the effect of Leon. Next, let's take a look at the spell cards, starting off with Gold Pride. That came out of nowhere. Essentially, this is a quick play monster reborn for Gold Pride. Sounds really good, right? But it also allows your opponents to special summon something from their graveyard or their hand, but that monster is negated. And the key point is, it is negated, so it won't have much impact when it lands on the field. And as you already know, Gold Pride are very keen on clearing monsters off of your opponent's side, such as using monsters like Rollerballer to go into Pinballer, absorbing it, Nitro Blaster to destroy it, or just punch right through with Star Leon. And being a quick play means that, hey, during opponent's turn, randomly, out of of nowhere, you can summon out a roller baller, and then a pinballer could just like whoop, scoop up some monster and really just mess up your opponent. So it's still really good, even though it does give your opponent a monster. Next, we have Gold Pride, Pedal to the Metal. This is a quick play spell card. In general, you can consider this as your protection card that has really good timing because it also has an attack boost attached to it. So being a quick play spell with an attack boost, what it really means is you can activate this during the damage step. And the monster that is affected by this, well, until the end of this turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect or activate its effect. So it does kind of limit that, but you can use that part to your advantage as well. And during the end phase, if one of your Gold Pride monsters has been destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, you can set this card from the graveyard onto the field during the end phase. So that's like quite nice. So a bit of replayability, a bit of recursiveness there. But what about, the cannot activate its effects? Well, you can kind of use that to your advantage as well, because remember, a lot of the Gold Pride monsters from the extra deck, during the end phase, they have to activate and go back into the extra deck. If you want to keep them on the field, say like Star Leon, because Star Leon's attack boosting effect doesn't actually expire. It's more or less permanent, but Leon kind of goes back into the extra deck. You can prevent that from going back into the extra deck, so you can just leave Leon on the field for another destruction and attack boost, and it really just throws your opponent off their game. So that's what you can use this card for, but essentially you can still use it for protection in general. And for the last spell card, we have Gold Pride, Better Luck Next Time, and yes, this is the secret rare. And yes, this is the card that you've been waiting for. When this card is activated, you get to add one Gold Pride monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, you lose life points equal to its attack, which is a good thing because that enables all your other Gold Pride monsters in your hand to special summon themselves out. Okay? And so you can kind of compare this card to a Fire Formation Tenki with a little bit of Sprite Starters sprinkled into it. But rather than giving your monsters attack boost, it gave you additional card drawing. So how does that work? So if a face-up Gold Pride monster you control that was special summon from the extra deck returns to the extra deck, you can draw one card. Of course, you can only activate this card once per turn, like this effect once per turn. But honestly, I'll take card draw over attack boost any day, and this card definitely does it because the monsters that you add to your hand already can be special summoned because you reduced your own life points. That's why this card is crazy. And when you pair it with other cards such as like Gold Pride, The Crowd Goes Wild, it's kind of a no-brainer that this deck has a lot of ways to start the play, and there's a lot of free cards that it is getting from those monsters. And the last card we're talking about for Gold Pride is Gold Pride, It's Neck and Neck. And this particular effect is very simple, but if you can use this effectively, it can really mess with your opponent and can help you gain like advantage out of nowhere. So target a Gold Pride monster you control or a Gold Pride card in your graveyard, okay? Except for Gold Pride, It's Neck and Neck. Return it to the hand. That's it. You're returning one of your own cards back to your hand. You're basically trading 1-for-1 resources for whatever that's in the graveyard, or you're bouncing back one of the monsters that's on the field. For one application for Roller Baller fuses, but it doesn't explicitly state that you need to use the copy itself on the field. So if you activate your Roller Baller effect and your opponent activates an effect, say like an Infinite Impermanence or something like that, you can chain Gold Pride, It's Neck and Neck, return that copy to your hand, and then you'll continue to fuse because you're fusing using the monsters in your hand or on the field. So whatever that you just put back in your hand, you can use that as material, and you can still go into Pinballer and still wreck your opponent's entire field. But you can also use this to add like important spell cards like, The Crowd Goes Wild. Maybe you need one of your quick play spells back. There's options there. The secondary effect of It's Neck and Neck only really applies when your opponent controls a monster with higher attack than your life points. You can activate this card from the graveyard, get to banish it, and a Gold Pride monster with it from your graveyard, and then you can special summon out the counterpart from the extra deck. So ideally you would summon out Nitro Blaster or Star Leon as the go-tos because they would have applicable effects that could impact the field. Otherwise, if you just want to wall up, you can still go for Roller Baller to go into Pinballer, and then you can maybe use Chariot Carry in defense mode because she still has 2700 defense to kind of help protect your life points. In addition to the cards, coming July 28th, there's a line of Gold Pride accessories. Sleeve of the deck in Carry Screw Sleeves featuring a stitch pattern emblem of Captain Carry. Keep your deck together in the Gold Pride Superfan card case with a divider, featuring the biggest two rivals of Star Leon and Nitro Head. And binder up your cards in the photo finish 9-pocket Duelist portfolio. And last but not least, we have an exciting game mat featuring Gold Pride Chariot Carry. And here are some of my personal notes here. This deck shares a lot of qualities that you can find in some of the top tier decks It's ridiculously consistent. There's at least 9 copies of consistency cards that essentially lets you special summon and get something out of the deck, such as you can play 3 copies of Emergency Teleport if you're playing with the Punk Engine, which I don't see why you wouldn't. You can even play cards like the Crowd Goes Wild and Better Luck Next Time, both of which reduce life points and help you get an additional monster out of the deck. And you haven't even used your normal summon. You have additional draw power, you have many engines that you can kind of splash into it. It's only a matter of time before someone really builds something and take advantage of everything that this deck has to offer. That is all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell. Don't miss another video, and I will see you guys in the next one.